It's been a little bit of a rough week. After all of the negativity and hatred regarding the exchange between me and General Jack Keane this week, my nerves have been a bit raw. And I'd be lying if I didn't say at times my confidence a bit shaken. We worked through that in Tuesday's episode here of Will Cain Country. But as is often the case, when you take a lot of bullets and you do your best to dodge and bob and weave, after a good amount of time, the random stray bullet is the one that really pisses you off.
Oh, no.
And so, yesterday, when Inter Miami visited the White House to meet with President Donald Trump, and this represented, in my mind, a massive moment, an incredible television experience, in that you had two of the most famous people in the world together in one room from two very different worlds. The soccer world is not, in large part, the world of America. And the soccer world is often, as we have talked about, coded left. So it was fascinating to me to see Lionel Messi and President Donald Trump side by side together as President Donald Trump honored Inter Miami on their championship season in the MLS. And then I get this message, okay, on Facebook. I'm going to read it to you guys. From a Greg Maloney. You opened your show today telling us you would be covering Donald Trump and someone named Messi, spelled with a Y, like the word messy, you know, who, in your mind, is equally well known around the world. I'm 65 and have known who Donald Trump is most of my adult life. Apparently, this Messi guy is a soccer player. The only soccer player I have ever heard of is Pele. Not everyone's priorities are the same as yours.
Wow.
And fellas, this one got my blood boiling. I don't know why this one got under my skin, but it did. Because the projection is 180 degrees in the wrong direction. He is suggesting that I'm imposing my priorities and favorites on the rest of the world, when in fact it is his lack of priorities and ignorance that is dictating what he sees as the world. And it got me thinking about the most famous people in the world. So, in order to open that discussion, I would say to you this, Greg. There is a way to objectively measure who are the most famous people in the world. And there's a combination of factors we could use to quantify that. You could look at Instagram. You could look at Q rating. You could look at general street name recognition globally, because I did say in the world. And there is no subjectivity to the objective fact that Lionel Messi is easily a top 5 most famous person in the world. And debatably, and this is what we're going to get to here today in just a moment, the most famous person in the world. It is very, very, very possible, and we're going to work through this together, that Lionel Messi is the most famous individual on the planet, Greg. And so in your 65 years in America, which I love and I bleed red, white, and blue, that patriotism does not require me to be ignorant of objective facts that exist globally. So in fact, it is your priorities that dictate, or seemingly trying to dictate, reality. So when I say you're looking at two of the most famous people in the world, that is fact. That is a reality. And I'm sorry if that reality displeased your subjective knowledge of the world, Greg Maloney. Now, to the actual fun part of this conversation. Let's do this, fellas. I think it's fair. Let's just start with this proposition right now. Lionel Messi and Donald Trump are both two of the 5 most famous people in the world. Do we agree?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd say Trump is one.
There's someone
Messi
more
could be
famous
2 or
than
3.
Messi, though.
Yes, I know who that is.
Okay, hold on. Let's fill out our top
Yes.
5, and then let's see if we can rank it, okay? this is, tell me if you would disagree. In the top 5 most famous people in the world, you would have, I think I could do all 5 pretty quickly, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo,
Yes.
who are the 2 most famous soccer players in the world and generally considered to be the best 2 players in the history of soccer. Donald Trump, probably Vladimir Putin, and Taylor Swift.
Wow.
Do you think that's right?
Dude.
Do you think that's right?
I'm looking at a list right now, and you just nailed it.
No, I don't want lists and stuff. I just want our conversation first, okay?
But I was
Don't
just
bring AI into this.
I was just
and that kind of
curious.
thing. Who are we missing? Like, if you had to, if you made me guess,
Elon.
I think there's a chance. Oh, Elon could be up there.
Yeah.
But I don't think he
he's
beats
bigger
any
than
of
those
those 5.
No.
No.
He's in
Christian.
the top
either.
10.
Christian. Well, yeah.
But like Jordan used to be, like 20,
LeBron James
20 years
is
ago.
huge across the world. China, Asia. LeBron James is absolutely
LeBron, I will give you that I think Elon and LeBron are in the 6 to 10 range.
Sure.
I do not think either of them beat the first 5 that we named. Here's one I think, though, that we might need to consider. And, of course, America won't count in these rankings, and that's the key, Greg. We're talking about the world.
Yeah,
so the world is a very big place. We are roughly 330 million people in the world. And, by the way, we have an outsized cultural influence. So whoever is famous here is more famous than you would be if you were in another country of 330 million. So, Tom Brady is more famous globally than simply being famous in America would suggest, because he is famous in America.
He's
But-
not top 10, though.
On that note, is there like a Korean K-pop star? Because this is now, I'm way outside of my skis, but I do know that K-pop is like really popular, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not in America, but it's not just a Korean thing. Isn't it kind of everywhere else but America? Like, is K-pop a thing in Europe?
Yes. It's specifically with younger people. Like Psy, Gangnam
But who would be
Style,
the-
Psy is huge still.
That's not K-pop, right? Is it?
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not K-pop.
He's Korean pop. Yes, he is.
That's not what Will's talking about, though.
No,
He's talking
that's
about
a-
the
You're talking about
boy
you were
bands.
talking
Yeah,
about
K-pop
K-pop
is a-
groups.
Yeah.
K-pop
Psy
is a
is
specific
K-pop.
style, isn't it, as well?
Sure.
I was under the impression.
Like, when I think of K-pop, I think of female artists. Aren't there some, like who would be the biggest K-pop star? I know Dan has said it's Psy,
There's
but
groups.
isn't there like some female
What's
artists
the
that
group?
are gigantic?
They're all serving in the military right now.
BSO or something?
BTS.
BTS.
They're the biggest ones, the group. But they're
I feel like I've heard
they're
that before.
serving right now, so they're not performing.
You know enough to know that.
I do.
I don't
What
know why
about-
we question him. He's dialed
There's
in on
another
K-pop.
element we have to factor in here, and that is there are a lot of Indians, and there's somebody in India, and I don't know if that's a cricket star
Bollywood's
or
huge.
a Bollywood actor, actress, but you're going to rack up sheer numbers just by being famous in India.
But I think
you know?
I think other countries' stars influence in India a little bit higher, maybe. Or
So in other words, take your biggest cricket star, and he's less famous here than Tom Brady is
Sure.
in India.
I would say so.
That's in
I also
because I don't
think-
think many people can name the world's biggest cricket star, assuming he's from
I
India.
don't even know what
in
how
America,
cricket
no
works.
one could name him. But if I
But
walk
once-
the streets of, whatever Mumbai,
Calcutta.
you think I'm going to find some people that know Tom Brady?
I would say so.
Yeah.
More than we would know who the cricket star is. Yes.
But I think a sport that you're sleeping on is golf. So, like, I think Tiger Woods probably has a lot
He's
of
not
global
top
recognition.
10. I don't think so. Maybe at one point.
Maybe not now. But, like, I do think that golf is massive. It's, like, big in the Middle East with Live and all that kind of stuff. I do think that there's a lot of global...
I honestly, you're gonna hate this, but Bad Bunny is up there, top 10 worldwide, globally.
Really?
Yeah, dude, he's the number one selling artist in the world. Literally the world.
Okay, but here's the test. Okay, let's pick the far reaches of the globe. Right? I don't know what that is. Some
MrBeast too, by the way.
country in Africa. No, see, that's the thing. So we're going to go to some random country in Africa, okay? And
They have YouTube.
we're going to walk out into the rural areas. Not like, I'm not talking like tribesman villages, but not the biggest city either in that African country.
Suburbs.
And we're going to go to a town. We're going to go to a town of 50,000 people in Africa, right? And we're going to walk in and we're going to say, "Do you know MrBeast?" And I think the answer is not very high. I don't think you're going to get a lot of yeses.
I think they would know MrBeast over Taylor Swift. If they have the internet, dude, you underestimate how big he is on the internet. There is a whole world that we don't even know about. Like you said, influencers, like all these famous girls that have 20 million whatever followers, and YouTubers are huge. I don't know.
But if we're in that African country, you know, where they're still wearing Buffalo Bills Super Bowl champion T-shirts, you know what I mean? That's my favorite story.
I love that.
You guys, everybody listening knows what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Before the Super Bowl, they always print the T-shirts of like the Super Bowl champion, and the losers' T-shirts always somehow get sent to Africa, and Africa's walking around in an alternate reality of Super Bowl champions that always had lost.
I want to get the Notre Dame 2025 national champions.
If we go there to that place where they're wearing those T-shirts, they know who Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi is.
God, yeah. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Do they know who Donald Trump is? I think they do.
Now, yeah.
I think they do.
Before he was president, probably not, but now that he's president, absolutely.
Well, yeah.
But he was famous before he was president, so.
Putin? Do they know Putin?
Only because he probably did arms deals down there, yeah.
Patrick, I think we're right. I think those are the five. And then I think that Elon Musk and Tiger Woods and LeBron James are beginning to fill out the 6 through 10 range. But you disagree with our top five, Dan? You wouldn't put Taylor Swift?
No, I would. I agree completely with the top five. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Taylor Swift is easily
all right.
in there.
I know who number one is. It's obvious.
Okay, let's do the ranking. Okay, you think it's obvious?
Mm-hmm. There's a metric.
I think it's Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo is number one.
He's the most followed human being on social media in the history of social media, numbers wise.
And social media isn't everything.
I know
it's not
but
everything.
It is a metric.
It is a metric. But I think Ronaldo is probably more famous than Messi.
Absolutely.
For whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it's
Handsome.
the big personality.
People would know. My mom would know who Ronaldo is over Lionel Messi.
Yeah. And then I think 2 and 3, in my mind, is a debate between Messi and Trump. That's what I think. It's those two at 2 and 3. And then I would say I may give Taylor Swift 4 and Vladimir Putin 5. That might be how I would guess the top 5.
I actually agree, which I know isn't very exciting, but I think you're spot on.
Okay, and then I'm not going to rank 6 through 10, but we also the names. So what did you get? Now go to your list, Dan. Who did you get?
Okay. Number 1, Cristiano Ronaldo. Number 2, Lionel Messi. Number 3, Donald Trump. Number 4, Taylor Swift. Number 5, Vladimir Putin.
Ah, we nailed it.
Nailed it.
And is that just social media?
That's just famous people.
Metric?
No. It's just famous people all over the world with a bunch of different metrics. They had Elon Musk coming in 6th, Xi Jinping coming in 7th.
Yeah, we forgot China.
China. The amount of people.
I don't think but he's racking up numbers just based upon the size of the Chinese population.
He's just
I don't think most people in the
front-loading
world
the numbers.
can name the leader of China.
I think they call him Pooh Bear.
I don't think.
Beyonce are on this list as well.
The Rock.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're telling me on this podcast we've had 2 of the top 10 most famous people in the world?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Making
If
waves.
you had to guess who the most likely next top 10 most famous person to get on this podcast would be, what would you guess? Would your guess be Cristiano Ronaldo? Because I don't think Messi speaks English.
He
not
definitely
well.
does. He pretends to.
Cristiano Ronaldo, Vladimir Putin,
Get Vlad on.
or Elon Musk.
Elon, for sure. We have the absolute best shot of you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
You met him.
Messi lives in Florida. I live
We're
in
literally
Florida.
in a room with Elon Musk.
We could literally do it here in the studio.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing that we haven't had Elon Musk. To
I
be
know.
honest.
I'm like, how haven't we?
I didn't used to work for him, okay? I'm not Katie Miller here.
Wow.
All right. Do you want to do the Ask Me Anything from the audience, or do you want to set us up for a topic, Patrick?
We have the clips.
Let's just ask me anything because I don't remember what the topics were.
We have the clips of Steve.
So,
Yeah, because it requires the least work for Patrick in the given moment.
well, I was prepared for the ask me anything. We'll do a couple of them, and then we'll go to the next one. So, let's go to. We'll go back. So we'll go back to the one we did on number 2 last week. We asked about your favorite interview question, and we got an answer for that. But Elise Winters wants to know: have you and the Secretary of War been able to hang out since he got his new job? Would you have taken a job in the administration if offered?
The Secretary of War and I have only gotten to hang out once since twice, I guess.
Patriot Awards?
Since he's taken his new job. Patriot Awards and my visit to the Pentagon. So when I went to the Pentagon for the day, we hung out. Well, we had lunch together, just the two of us, in his office at the Pentagon, which was kind of awesome. And then we were joined at the end of lunch by General Dan Raisin Cain. So that was pretty fun. And it was, when you say hang out, it's when it's not Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and Fox News' host of the Will Cain Show, Will Cain. So you're asking me like when we're just Will and Pete. And even though we were in that office, we pretty much got to be that. And then at the Patriot Awards, Rachel, our friend Gavin, who works at Fox, Pete, and I all got to hang out after the Patriot Awards for an hour and a half backstage after it was all over and just catch up.
How many people are around him now at all times?
Well, not in his office, but
like
at the
when
Patriot Awards, there's Army security. Yeah,
like how
Army
many
security,
are you talking?
Like a detail, in the room, probably 2, and then outside the room, and then outside the perimeter, and on and on.
That's wild.
Yeah. I just thought of a story, but I don't think I'm going to tell that story.
Probably don't.
Marianne, on that same note, asks, you have some really great interviews, Will. I enjoy your show. I don't really have any questions for you right now about you or your show, but do you happen to know any really nice guys you can connect me with? Thanks, and I'd appreciate it. Marianne, looking for some matchmaking.
We're all taking Marianne.
Well, I got Ed over here, but he's recently married. These two guys are married. Do I have any single buddies right now that are escaping my mind? Ryan Russillo from ESPN. Now, where is Ryan? At Barstool?
This is an interesting question, actually. As a guy, when you get married and you start to have kids, do you start to hang out with your single buddies less? Would you say, on average?
I don't hang out with anybody.
Well,
like, do they get kind of like
most unsurprising line of the week?
like, I feel like they get pushed out a little bit by the wives or like,
You can a little bit. Like, here's what I think you do with single guys. It becomes hobby oriented. So golf.
Right.
If you want to get together and play cards, or I'm a big fan of dominoes, 42 in a moon, then you can do things like that. But you really start doing the double date a lot, and that's with other couples. Mm-hmm. Maybe or maybe not married, but with other couples.
The wife might get worried.
And
going
then
out with a single guy.
You do this new thing. Which Dan hasn't experienced yet. And Patrick says he doesn't do it. Your new friend group becomes the parents of your kids' friends, and that totally reshuffles your social order.
Sure.
So
it already
it's
started.
Like it's the weirdest thing that no one expects, and it's not by design, And it's not like, throughout your life you develop your friends organically, when you're young, and then I don't know, maybe a fraternity sort of shapes your friends through college or something like that, or a team. But it's the first time in life, like, well, maybe it's like going back to being in elementary school where it's organically like we're all here together. Who's going to start hanging out?
Yeah.
And
but it's a little
who do you
decided
jive
for you.
with, and by who?
Well,
and then
other
there's
half.
that, Dan. There's the
husbands
then
of
there's
her
that
friends.
whole thing. Yeah.
It's forced.
Well, right.
Sorry if they're watching.
And you got to
I
find
really
a good
like
match.
you guys, but it's a little forced.
And once you get to the kid stage, that's where I feel like the single buddies really start to be sidelined.
Drop off a little bit, yeah.
Everybody starts going their own ways.
Once a year golf trip or golf.
Hugh Jorgen says, favorite metal band and song. All right, I can do this.
I didn't think you could, so
I can
was
do it.
very,
You don't know
very
metal.
curious.
You don't think I can? Well,
No.
it's not going to be. It's
You're
not
gonna
like
say,
I'm
like,
going
Metallica or
to pick a
something.
B-side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm going to go, most likely. I mean, if you say, give me the catalog, it's Metallica. But I can give you a song in particular that I like that is not as much mainstream. And that would be Mother by Danzig.
Not really metal.
Oh, wow. Not really metal, but
That's,
yeah, okay.
That's not metal?
No.
That's not metal?
That's punk.
That's not punk.
Danzig and Misfits are punk. They're not metal.
Mother, tell your children not to come my way.
That's not even close to metal.
That is not punk.
I could play you some real metal.
Not metal.
Ramones is punk.
Agnostic Front, Hatebreed, Madball, that's metal.
Okay, all right.
Did you see the picture
Something
of
very uncool about that.
Never mind.
I know. I was being a gatekeeper.
All right, Janet Steele says, love your show, but it would be amazing if you could dress more like Texas than you do. Just saying. Well, what do you have in mind, Janet? A bolo?
Yeah. You have to wear a cowboy hat and a bolo the whole time.
Head like that. Yeah, cowboy hat on the news. I mean, to be honest, I agree, Janet. And that was the original conception. And I'm not going to lie to you. There was some executive meetings about this.
Really?
Like how, well, yeah. Like there were certain contingencies where like let Will dress like himself. A suit at this point in my life is not unlike myself. I mean, I wear a suit so much that it's become very, like, I remember the stage that maybe both of you guys are in. Like you put a suit on, you're like, oh my God, I feel like, you're walking around stiff or something.
Sure.
I wear a suit so much that I feel normal.
a
How about
uniform.
that in a
Yeah.
suit? But there was a debate about the tie because I did consider not wearing a tie. The general consensus is when you're delivering news, particularly at 4 o'clock when there's a lot of breaking news, that a tie is a sign of respect and to continue. There have been Fridays where I felt like the news isn't so driving. There's not a war or these types of things. And I have shed the tie on Fridays. But that doesn't make you Texas. The thing that I have done only on a few occasions, that was also debated, is boots and jeans with, a blazer.
And tucked in white.
I have done it.
Button down.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
Texas oil tycoon look.
And I like that look, and I would love to do that more. So, Janet, you're not going to see it much unless I go to the wall and walk around, right? You don't see my lower half that much on the show, so it's not.
I told you-
Except when you sit awkwardly on the chair.
But I told you, like
BTS.
with Jimmy Kimmel, when he was doing the Jimmy Kimmel show, they went tieless. They did a bunch of things where they changed everything radically, and then the audience didn't like it, and they gradually went back to what the audience is used to. So Jimmy Kimmel wears a tie today when he didn't start. And
Yeah.
so it's like you almost have to like work it, go the opposite way. You have to like start one way and then shed it over time if you're going to do it.
You don't start with, to your point, you don't start with radical change because you end up
Right.
morphing back to the norm. You start with the norm and gradually move to change,
Exactly.
which is 100% true. Becky Sims Hunt says, "Can you take your show on the road in Texas? Of course, for those of us that live here, we are taking our show on the road. That was broken. That news broke to me, right? And it is going to be in Texas. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Dallas.
There's new news about it too.
Is there?
It's getting bigger.
There is.
It's getting.
This will be news to me. This will be news to me.
I know.
News to
Maybe
me.
I should tell you
bigger?
off air. There's going to be not just
No, tell me now.
Not just our show will be there, but another certain 4:00 show might be there as well.
Another certain, like Kudlow?
No, your show.
TV? It's getting ripped
Oh,
in.
my TV show.
Yeah. So it might be a dual banger.
I don't know. Maybe they can book for us.
But it's gonna be great. Live studio audience. Hopefully musical guests. It'll be really
What
fun.
city?
In Dallas.
Dallas.
It's like right down the
What
street
city?
from your studio.
Can you say?
Your city.
It's like 10 minutes from
in
the
Dallas.
studio.
Nice. All right.
More to come.
Angie Brunson Eshelman says, "Is authoring a book a requirement to work for Fox?" You know what's funny about this question? I don't even know if it's sarcastic. I don't know if it's sincere or sarcastic.
Our next
Right?
guest.
So let's start with sincere. No, it's not a requirement. Let's get to the sarcasm. And you're talking to one of the few Fox News hosts who have never published a book.
Do you feel out of the club?
It's what is that accusatory, Patrick? Like
Yeah.
I need to?
I've said in the past, let's figure something out. We gotta get you a book to write, and then like a topic, an idea. We've come up with some ideas. We've thrown some stuff around, but also, there's ghostwriters. Will, you don't have to do it all yourself. You don't have to lift the whole thing. We just gotta,
That's generally
if it
frowned
were
upon,
up to you,
right?
it'd be a conspiracy.
No, that's what Pete did.
What? How are you gonna call him out like that?
No, Pete didn't do that. He did it like with one of them.
No, yeah,
He
but
had
I'm
a
saying like
co-author with one
you
of
have a
them.
co-author. They,
two of
they
them,
help you with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still your book and your ideas.
I think Patrick's asking if he could write a book for you.
I don't want to do it. I have ideas.
I've told you guys, like, this is an example of paralysis by analysis for me. Like, I don't want to write the book of, like, Will Cain's view on the world right now. I just don't want to write that book.
Do
I
your
feel
story.
cathartically like I get that out between my two shows, I want to do something with history. And, I'm not going to do what O'Reilly did or Kilmeade did, but I do like the idea of looking at history and seeing the stories, first of all, that tell the true vision of America, but what it also means about who we are as a people. And the challenge for me is, like, what guys do when they do this is, like, they write about the biggest figures, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, because, of course, those are the biggest stories, and those are going to sell for sure. And I'm attracted to the stories of the frontier. And I feel like the America that I know and how I view America is defined by, in my mind, the brave, adventurous, sometimes outlaw people of the edge of America and the frontier. I feel like that spirit has been personified from the Pilgrims all the way through the frontiersmen. And I love their stories, and I gravitate to them. I gravitate to Kit Carson, the Comanches, the Texas Rangers, the Sioux, General Custer. Like, I do love the conflict of civilizations between westward expansion and Native Americans. I think it's just fascinating to no end.
I find Texas history very fascinating too, by the way. I didn't know a lot about it until not that long ago. I mean, even the book on that would be crazy.
This week was Texas Independence Day.
Was
we didn't
it?
do anything
Yeah.
on this show, but it was really a shame. Yeah.
But wait.
What is
Didn't
the
you already
date
write a
today?
book?
What, Ed? What's the date?
March 6th.
What's the date? March 6th. That's the Alamo, right?
Remember?
Today's the Alamo, I think.
The Alamo?
It's
You
13
forgot
days.
about the Alamo?
We forgot about the
Alamo? I know what Texas Independence Day is. That's March 2nd. That's the
Wait,
day.
Will.
Is today the day
where'd
that
you
the
get
Alamo
independent
fell?
from?
March 6th? Yeah, today's the day the Alamo fell. February 23rd through March 6th. Today's the day that Santa Anna finally took the Alamo. Dan, do you not know the answer to that question? Independence from what?
Not really. Mexico?
Really? Come on, you can do it. Yeah, from Mexico. Right, Ed? This is when Texas
What year?
beat Mexico. Yeah, 1836.
It's not that long ago, to be honest with you.
And a free and independent republic for almost 10 years to just the beginning of 1846.
You guys going to break off again, or what are you
At which
gonna do?
point we joined the United States of America.
United.
And that story is amazing, Dan. It's a little mini revolution,
I would love
American
to
Revolution,
learn more
and
about
many
it.
of the same. It's in the microcosm. I don't know if the American Revolution has an Alamo type story, but Sam Houston's retreat. Do you know how Texas? Do you know this? The way Texas won the war.
Not really.
Okay, let me just tell you the quick story because I think it's pretty fascinating, right?
Yeah.
The Mexicans completely outnumbered the Texans. Like size of sheer army wasn't close, and that's why they overran the Alamo. The Alamo was like 132 guys, I think.
That's it?
And the Mexican army, and the Mexican army was like 2,000 to 3,000 guys.
Jeez.
And they held them off for 13 days. And famously, William Barrett Travis, the commander at the Alamo, and this part might or might not be mythology, but drew a line in the sand a couple of days into the deal with his sword and said, every man who crosses over this line will stay and fight to the death with me here at the Alamo. If you don't want to, don't cross this line. And every man but one crossed the line.
Wow.
But that one was sent out to go spread the word to the rest of the Texas Army of what was happening at the Alamo. In the meantime, after the Alamo is overrun, Sam Houston, who is the leader of the Texas forces, retreats. It's called the Runaway Scrape. And Santa Anna chases him. And he's running for like a couple of weeks, I believe, and trying to gather up more army town to town. And then, and this is the part I can't remember the date of. I'm going to say it's in May, but the Battle of San Jacinto. So the Texans waited until the Mexican siesta in the middle of the day. They took a siesta, Santa Anna and all his forces. The rumor or myth is that Santa Anna was sleeping with a prostitute who has since been referred to as the Yellow Rose. So have you ever heard the Yellow Rose of Texas?
Yes.
Or the song, The Yellow Rose of Texas? That's her. She's with Santa Anna.
Were the winds named
They
after him?
cross over the river. Huh?
The Santa Ana winds?
No, that's California.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. There's a city in California named Santa Ana, and the winds come from there. Now, why is that city named Santa Ana? I don't know. Or they blow through Santa Ana.
Yellow Rose.
But they charge. They charge.
While
they
he's
slaughter
with
the Mexicans.
this Yellow
the battle.
Rose.
Yeah, and the whole army's taking their siesta, which is a cultural tradition in Mexican and Spanish culture is to have that nap in the afternoon, and they slaughter them in like 15 minutes. The Texans. Santa Anna runs off, dresses up as a lowly soldier, takes off all his military garb. Takes them a couple hours to find him. They find him in the woods. They bring him in, capture Santa Anna, and they win the war. And then they negotiate the treaty that gives Texas its independence.
What's the name of the treaty?
Pretty good.
Oof.
What is the name of the treaty? It's not Guadalupe Hidalgo. That's what gave America all of the Southwest in the Mexican-American War. I don't know. Treaty of San Jacinto?
Treaties of Alaska?
Velasco? Oh. All right. There's your lesson in Texas history,
That's
which we did not
fascinating.
anticipate.
Is there a good book on that?
here
Maybe you should
today.
write it.
Brian Kilmeade wrote one.
I was going to say
Sam
though,
Houston and the Alamo Avengers.
didn't you write a book, Will? You just published that.
I'm not publishing that. I'm not going to publish that. In breaking news today, yesterday, friend of the program, regular guest here on Will Cain Country,
Yes.
Oklahoma Senator, the man with two names, Mark Wayne Mullen, has been appointed the Secretary of Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security. Kristi Noem has been fired.
Epically.
Mark Wayne Mullen is now head of DHS, which means we're probably not going to get him anymore, right?
No, we have a great relationship.
He's very
right?
friendly. He was
They
giving me
love us.
marriage advice like 2 weeks ago before he came on the show.
Yeah, I texted
No,
him yesterday.
I don't know if he's going to be on Tuesday. That's for sure. But I got to check in.
I highly doubt it.
I doubt it.
You know, though, who we could get today on with the Will Cain show, I will have Senator John Kennedy. I'm thinking I'm going to get blown out by President Trump today, who's doing a roundtable on the future of college sports.
Oh, yeah.
Tiger Woods, a lot of big Nick Saban, people are going to be there. But presuming I can get it in, I have Senator John Kennedy, who asked the question that did in Kristi Noem about her $200 million ad campaign where she's prominently featured and whether or not that was approved by President Trump. She said yes. Reports are that really upset President Trump and was the sort of straw that broke the camel's back on a whole host of what they feel like are distractions
I heard
to
it was something
a
else.
lot of successes at DHS.
A certain personal relationship, yeah. That's what
There's
the New York,
questions
too.
about it.
that's what the New York Post said.
But that's not new, Dan.
Right.
But that's not new. That's been around.
Yeah.
So all of these things.
It's been around, but it got asked in that hearing by, I believe,
And that company that was used for that contract or something, like the $143 million. There's a few things.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
But Senator John Kennedy, who,
Yeah.
when asked today to be on the Will Cain show, said, "I love Will like a brother." So maybe we can get Senator Kennedy on in Mark Wayne Mullins' previously scheduled spots.
we have been talking to him. So yeah,
I still think back to that tour he gave us of the Library of Congress. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, wasn't that awesome?
Yeah. That was really cool.
I told him to play that on TV yesterday. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Said he'd never seen Ilhan Omar, or for that matter, any Democrat in the
Reading?
Library of Congress.
The library.
It wasn't the Library of Congress. It was the Congressional Reading
Oh,
Room.
sorry. Was it? Oh.
Yeah. Okay, one last thing I want to talk about today before we get to the incomparable Shannon Bream, who's going to be joining us here today. There's a stat that stuck out to me in our conversation with Dr. Deborah So when we talked about AI robots, sextinction, right? And there's a conversation, a portion of this. Ed, I hope you're paying attention to this. So I asked Dr. So, well, is there another option besides the idea that people are going to stop getting married and start having long-term relationships with their robots? So I asked her, what about the idea of the robot being additive to the relationship? I'm not advocating. I'm just saying, is it polygamy if it's a robot,
Right.
or is it
just a
better
tool.
Better question.
Marriage aid.
Is it cheating? Is it cheating if it's a robot? And so I asked her that, something like that. I didn't ask her. I said, we're going to have really deep conversations about the concept of fidelity. And she said that she thinks men and women will have different responses to that. And she said women might be more forgiving or open or accepting of their husbands, seeking a relationship physically with the robot. But that men would have a bigger problem with women. Okay, and here's why she said this.
They already use things.
Being with their robot. Here's what she said. Why do people have a problem psychologically, deep down? Forget religiosity, just instinctually, psychologically deep down with infidelity. And it is women, their biggest fear is being left, is abandonment. It makes sense. I have kids, I have to provide for them, I need security, I need safety. We're going way back, right? We're going to caveman days.
Is she prettier?
Two
is she
partners
better?
sought in a relationship. Well, but only to the extent that it matters if he falls in love with her.
Exactly.
So in other words, a woman could more easily forgive a man for cheating if it were simply physical. What's devastating is the love side of it and the abandonment side of it.
Yep.
That's the devastating part of it. And that's not to say that women would not, would forgive men for just cheating. Of course not. But psychologically, this is the major motivating factor. Now we get to the interesting part. Men, what they worry about when it comes to infidelity, this is Dr. So, and this has been banging around, and this is interesting. Men, deep down, instinctually, over time, what they're guarding against when it comes to infidelity is being cuckolded. Yeah. Okay, when she said that to me, at first, I'm like, okay, that feels like a modern term,
It's an old
what does
term.
that mean? She said it's men with an instinctual fear of raising another man's child. And
That's wild.
she said this. You ready? Get ready. I haven't Googled this to see if it's true, but I do trust Dr. So.
I've been telling you this.
Patrick's
There's
on it.
research. There is research that says 1 in 10 men are out there raising another man's child without their knowledge.
Dude.
Without their knowledge. Don't nod like that doesn't surprise you. Don't nod. That is shocking to the point of unbelievability.
Shocking.
That you're telling me if I take a cross section, I don't even care at the 110. If I took a cross section of 100 dudes I know, 100, that forget the 10,
That's insane.
5
I would have said 1 in
5
1,000.
are raising a kid that's not his and they don't know it.
Yes.
Which means, obviously, that she cheated on him, got impregnated, did not tell the husband that it's not yours, and they just go on with their life. And I'm just going to do one more thing. I'm just repeating what Dr. So said. She said there are stories. Now she's not doing research. Now she went straight to stories of twins. Twins.
That's crazy.
Obviously fraternal, not identical, who have different fathers. And
Because it's split.
the familial father figure doesn't know. Right? Do we buy this? Ed is nodding. And Patrick, you seem to buy this too. 1 in 10 guys out there are raising a kid that's not his and he doesn't know it?
I don't buy this. I know it's true because so what happened is they thought it was like 2 to 3%. Okay. Then they started doing this ancestry stuff with Ancestry.com and 23andMe, and they started piecing it all together. They actually have the evidence, the statistics backing it up, DNA evidence.
Like, that's not your
that
family.
it is 10% of these births.
Yeah.
Are
I would have said 1 in
else's.
2,000, maybe 1 in 5,000.
yeah.
I would have too, Dan.
Like
Maybe not 1 in 2,000. Maybe
it's
1
insanity.
in 500, I would have said.
You just got to hope that the guy you cheat with looks like your husband, because then it'll be a huge problem.
Yeah.
Like, because then you're gonna know.
That is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
Oh, we have a recessive gene of like blue eyes or something.
Tell me that's not going to send a bunch of dudes listening to this show going home looking real deeply at their kids and saying, does he look like me? Does he look like me?
Hey, Charlie, come over here. Let me look at you.
Why'd you say Charlie?
Why?
Damn, Dan.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean your.
Yeah.
Very insensitive.
Sorry, that was the first thing that popped in my head. I don't know why. But like, come over here. Let me look you in the eye.
Say John or something.
I'm going to slip a paternity test in here.
I said I was joking with Patrick. I think I was texting him. Like,
Patrick, you've got 7 kids. You literally have 7 kids.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm doing numbers here. I'm doing odds.
I feel pretty
I'm
confident.
getting DNA tests in the hospital if you have a child.
I'm pretty confident they're mine.
I need it on the spot.
gosh.
Baby comes out, test right away.
Do they do that? Do you have to ask for that?
Yeah.
You probably have to ask for that, right?
Be like, sir, why are you asking for this so soon? Imagine how. Let's go to this. How would you react? Like, hypothetically, you are the cuckolded person.
Oh, I would lose
How
it.
old is the kid? Doesn't this, being honest,
Older.
doesn't this have to do with how old the kid is?
Yeah, so like if you're saying if it's like a 3-year-old, you would leave and not rear the child as if it was like 20.
I just think it would have a massively different emotional impact. Like 14 versus 3, you know, you've been raising and okay.
What?
I got a text. Not from my wife.
I was like,
This show
we're
isn't
not
live.
I was like, what's going on?
This show isn't live. She did get mad at me. She did get mad at me about the Deborah So conversation. She's like, you made me look really bad. I'm like, how did I make you look bad? What are you
What?
talking about? She's like, you said, oh, all these wives nag on you and make you do this and that. And why wouldn't the robot be better? And I'm like, I was not talking about you. I was talking about, like, you know, the
General.
I don't know, Will.
stereotypical dude story.
I don't know, Will. Asking for a friend.